Okay. Yes, we are back. We're live. If there's the dance, if there's the music, you know, live episode of FYC. Before we get started, put this out there now. We are so happy to see so many of our loyal FYCers. There's a hashtag for you in our comment section, but please be sure to be respectful and nice and courteous with your comments or off with your heads. So once again, joined by the amazing Perri Nemiroff and the mighty Jeff Snyder. We are just weeks away from the Academy Awards on March 10th, and we are just days, count them, hours away before voting closes on picking the winners. Voting is opening right now. The voting is happening as we speak. So we are going to start with Best Supporting Actress, and I'm going to start with the mighty Jeff Snyder. Who is your number one pick to win? I think this is going to be an easy one.
It's got to be Miss Da'Vine Joy Randolph. She was fantastic in the Holdovers. She has steamrolled the competition all season. I really don't see anybody else putting up a fight. I think this is over.
I agree with you, Perri. Instead of being like, oh, well, why isn't she going to win? I just the question, just to keep it short and to the point, is there a chance at all that maybe she won't?
No. In this particular category too, it's like sometimes I can concoct narratives where like if this and this and this happens, this person might slip in. In this particular case, there isn't anyone who has risen to the point of being anything close to a number 2 contender. Like if you said you absolutely have to pick somebody else who has a chance of winning, I genuinely couldn't even do it. I couldn't make a strong case for any of them, except for the fact that they're great performances. But Da'Vine Joy Randolph is running away with it.
Yeah. She is. And when you watch that movie and when you see it again, you know, after some period of time, especially after she has won basically every award that she's either been nominated for or every critics group that named her Best Supporting Actress for the year, you know, you watch the movie and you go, yep, absolutely, she does deserve that. Jeff, what are you going to say?
I mean, just that, like, you know, I think it was possible that someone from Oppenheimer could have been swept up in this, but Emily Blunt is sort of in the happy to be here. I feel like all the other performances, Danielle Brooks, Jodie Foster, they all kind of stand a better chance than Emily Blunt, and so I don't see that happening.
But Perri, is there a chance that America Ferrera could be the number 2? And if so, why do you think that she's going to win the Academy Award for Supporting Actress?
Listen, I'm really proud of myself for getting the prediction right on the nominations. But I mean, if on my Gold Derby, she's my number 5. And again, I think it is kind of pointless for me to be ranking 2, 3, 4, and 5 because what's the difference? But because I have to on that site to fill out my sheet, she's my number 5 there. I feel like.
Who's your 2? That's, I guess, what I'm curious about.
I put Danielle Brooks, but like my thinking behind that was mainly because The Color Purple didn't really get much love this award season. So if there's people out there who are super passionate about it, she's really the place to go to support the film. And also she's exceptional. I will add that. And then I had Jodie Foster at my number 3 too, because, you know, industry icon, great performance. And as I've said before, I feel like people walk away from Naiad, or at least I walked away from Naiad being like, I want someone like Bonnie in my life.
You mean you swam away from Naiad?
Yeah. I did not swim. I don't like swimming anymore.
Yeah, it's nice to walk outside and be in the midst of the Foster Sons. I walk by people in the street and I go, how's the Foster Sons treating you? And they're like, it's a great time to be alive.
That makes sense.
But Jeff, America Ferrera, I mean, look, everyone's pointing to that monologue as her reason for being nominated. But I mean, it's a great performance overall. The monologue is just kind of icing on the cake. But it is a great performance. I mean, she should have been nominated. It was great that she was, right?
She's been getting a ton of work. Have you seen her in the headlines this week?
Mm-hmm.
She's been cleaning up, and that's what you got to do is strike while the iron is hot. But it's all about what projects you choose to do, because if you choose wrong, then the heat disappears, and, you know. So I think at that Greengrass movie that she chose with McConaughey, though, that's going to be a winner for her, and that's a great, juicy lead role.
It's funny, when I saw the news about that, Jeff, I thought, did he already break this news on the hot mic? or on the Insnider.com, because that feels like a Jeff Snyder scoop. Just saying.
I should have had it.
You should have had
Coulda,
it.
woulda, coulda in this business. What is that?
Not me. Well,
Not me either.
well, whatever it is. So I'm interesting, Perri. You have Foster at number 5. No.
No, I have Jodie Foster number 3. That would make Emily Blunt my number 4 currently. I think Emily Blunt should be higher on the list. I actually just did a show where this came up, and I wish I had a better argument for Emily Blunt in my mind. But I feel like she's just not getting enough credit for what she actually does in Oppenheimer. Like, I've heard so many folks who didn't like Oppenheimer disappointed because, and I think this was the intention, which is why I find this argument a little bit frustrating, that, you know, the women in the movie didn't get enough time to shine, that certain elements of this whole experience weren't reflected like they should be in that movie. When, you know, I'm watching a movie like that and I'm thinking the intention behind that movie was telling a deeply internal story about a person with so much power, wielding that power, and then coming to realize the consequences of his actions and processing that. And I feel like the movie does that very strongly. And I feel like Emily Blunt is truly doing exactly what she needs and then some in order to enhance that, while still making sure her character feels whole enough on that journey. And I don't know, I really think she has some of the most exceptional scenes in that movie. That interrogation scene towards the end is one of my favorites of the whole year.
I think Emily Blunt, I mean, I'm glad that she got nominated. To your point, Perri, about, you know,
Indy is so pissed at me that I'm vouching for Emily Blunt in this category right now.
Yeah, just freaking out. Wait, can I get a pronunciation clarification from you guys? Because I'd like to say it with more confidence. I used to call her Da'Vine Joy Randolph, and then someone corrected me and said it's Da'Vine. Which one is it?
Da'Vine.
Da'Vine. Okay.
Da'Vine. There you go. We stand corrected, Jeff.
I also cut you off, Mance, to give Indy a little love. What were you saying about Emily Blunt's work?
All right. Yes, that's Indy barking in the background. I just walked in the door, so he wants to play, and I'm like, not now. I got to do FYC. So no, I was just gonna say Emily Blunt. I mean, I just adore her as an actor. I will watch anything she does. I think that she's terrific in Oppenheimer, in a film where I would like to have seen maybe a little more gravitas to the character as written. And Perri, you made a comment about, you know, there are some people who don't like Oppenheimer. I mean, I love it. I think it's a brilliant film, but just going to go off track here for a second, because I actually think, you know, now that we're doing this live and the SAG Awards are tomorrow, I think there's going to be a major upset at the SAG Awards.
No.
Best cast. And I think Barbie will win Best Cast over Oppenheimer.
I do not agree with that.
Let me explain why. All right, Jeff, am I out of my head, or are you?
No, I like it. I like where your head's at, Mance.
Oh, okay. All right. The contrarian joins the contrarian. Here's why I think Barbie actually really has a good chance to win. And I'm not saying Oppenheimer's not going to win. I'm just saying there could be an upset, and it could be Barbie. Here's why. Because, Perri, you're right. There are people who don't like Oppenheimer. Also, Oppenheimer, you know, is kind of a guy's movie. Okay. Whereas Barbie has, obviously it's a very strong female empowerment film. And obviously a whole lot of fans are women who took their daughters to see the film, grossing $1.5 billion worldwide. And then there was those two snubs at the Oscars where Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie were snubbed for Best Director and Best Actress, respectively. So there's this huge groundswell of support for Barbie now. And while I still think Oppenheimer is going to win Best Picture, I don't think that's going to change. You know, you've got 119,000 members of SAG. 119,000 people voted for the SAG Awards. A lot of those 119,000 voters are women who loved and are supporting Barbie. And that could mean some trouble for Oppenheimer if the support for Barbie is such that a large portion of those 119,000 SAG voters are like, you know what? This is our chance to reward Barbie for a job well done. That's why I think there is a chance. It's not a lock. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen. And if it does, it's Barbie. Jeff,
I both like that theory and find it a little reductive to think that, oh, women are just going to vote for Barbie.
No. That's not what I said.
But I know you didn't, but there's a lot of women in SAG, and they may feel this is their chance or whatever. But you and our opinion doesn't matter. I want to hear from Perri Nemiroff
about its chances or the specifics of the argument.
About the idea of women sort of having a groundswell of support behind Barbie, and the fact that it was snubbed at the Oscars. Could that manifest itself in support for the best ensemble award at SAG?
I have a very hard time gendering movies. I think both movies are truly for everyone. For everyone. I mean, female empowerment is definitely a key part of Barbie. I don't really see that being part of this conversation, though. I look at the SAG Awards and think that gigantic body of voters are people who do that craft, respect that craft, and respect the lengths one has to go to in order to nail a performance and create nuance within it. And I just have a feeling that some of the acting feats on display in Oppenheimer are going to claim such a significant amount of the spotlight that this narrative about how Barbie might win isn't going to have enough weight to it.
To me, I'm using the corollary that like the stuff that whatever happens at SAG, it has no bearing on the Oscars. It's not going to make a difference, okay? Because most people have already voted, by the way. Right?
I don't think SAG is going to have a difference in terms of influencing the Oscar race because that's it. But I do think that people choosing to vote for these individuals in SAG is reflective of how many might choose to vote for them in the Academy.
I'm saying that there's no correlation, so thus I have to say that that SAG won't care that Barbie was snubbed at the Oscars. Like there won't be a link. So,
and as far as I think both movies are for everybody, but they're both very, 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 very different movies. I mean, like in every level, but they both did really well. That's why they called them Barbenheimer, and they one made almost $1 billion, and one made 1.5 billion. So clearly, both movies are for everybody. But I just think that and maybe I'm overthinking this, and of course I probably am. Of course I am. I just think that. By the way, of those 119,000 voters in SAG, a very small portion of those 119,000 SAG voters actually work as actors for a living. Most of them don't. Most of them may get gigs here and there. Most of them are still just trying to get their big break. But there is a respect for the craft, and I think both films have a completely different set of actors that need to be respected and honored. And I just think that. Well, okay, Oppenheimer's been winning Best Picture all along in the major award shows so far. And I think it is going to win Best Picture. And I think that, maybe some of those actors, maybe the women who feel like that Barbie was robbed at the Oscars for a couple things, maybe this is the chance for Barbie to get some really due recognition that it deserves.
You're not crazy. I like the theory. You're not nuts.
I think that genuinely speaking, American Fiction is an amazing cast. Everyone in that film is fantastic. The chemistry among those cast members in American Fiction are fantastic. And it's a smaller, more intimate film where it's more about the cast than the bomb itself, whereas with Oppenheimer. Anyway, I'm totally going off track.
If not Oppenheimer for the cast award at SAG, my prediction for the number 2 up in that category is American Fiction.
Likewise.
Yeah, I mean, look, if American Fiction wins, it deserves it. If Barbie wins, it deserves it. I mean, anyway. All right. Are we good with supporting actress? Shall we move on to supporting actor? All right. Supporting actor, Perri. Who's taking it? Number 1 with a bullet.
I'm not going to say this is as much of a sure thing as Da'Vine Joy Randolph winning supporting actress, but I do feel like Robert Downey Jr. is kind of running away with this category, and I have a very difficult time imagining anyone else winning given how this season is going. Similarly, to a point I made in the other category, I feel like in order for me to believe that an upset here is possible, I would have need to have seen something where someone starts to emerge as a potential, like sneak attack. And of these four, they're like kind of at the same level in my mind in terms of their chances to win. I feel like unless one started to rise a little faster than the others, like how am I going to predict anyone else but Robert Downey Jr.? He's going to win.
Right. Jeff, is there a world in which Robert Downey Jr. doesn't win?
Absolutely not. And again, Gosling was really good, but they're just not going to give that guy an Oscar for that movie. It's just not going to happen. Robert Downey Jr. played it perfectly all season. By which I mean he shook the hands that he had to shake. He did like the Santa Barbara tribute, right, or whatever. Like he didn't have to be everywhere. Okay, like retain a little mystique and make it special when you make these appearances. And I think him and Nolan just they came off very, very well this season, and Nolan's going to be rewarded as well, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So since you just said that Gosling is not going to win an Oscar for this movie and that character, Jeff, tell me why Ryan Gosling will win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Why he would?
Because I love this game.
Because that character stole the movie. He stole the movie. Okay, that's the biggest movie of the year, and he stole it. And he did more with Ken than anyone could have done. Right? He took that character as far as you could take Ken and still have it work and everything. I can't imagine anyone doing a better job than he did. Whereas you can maybe imagine someone playing, Strauss, was that his name in
Strauss?
Oppenheimer? Strauss? I don't fucking know. I watched the movie once.
My heart.
Way to go, Jeff, for rebounding why Ryan Gosling should win. This is why I love him.
I'll always love you, Ryan.
All right. What about Perri? Like Gosling is not winning. Why?
Not winning. Also, I think Travis and I have a shared brain right now. I do think that was very much Margot's movie, and no one stole it from her. I also don't really see much weight in the idea that folks wouldn't vote for Ryan Gosling because he's playing Ken in a Barbie movie. I don't really see that happening either. I mean, why he's not going to win is because Robert Downey Jr. is running away with it. That's the main reason why.
Ryan Gosling's performance, I think, was better than Robert Downey Jr.'s performance.
Wow. Yeah, that's hard to pick between them. I mean, I think
like if you're asking me which is the better performance, I'm taking Gosling.
Wow.
Take it. I mean, it.
Wow.
This goes back to the never-ending argument of like, how can we compare?
How do you compare? Yes,
how do you compare performances in two different movies? I feel like I would vote Robert Downey Jr. and perhaps that might be reflective of how highly I think of his individual performance, but also I think his performance is then more elevated by the entirety of the package of Oppenheimer. Whereas I think Barbie's a very good movie, but perhaps it's not giving Gosling a boost in the same way.
Why is it not okay to just say, and not that it has to be your opinion, but like, why is it not okay for people to just say, like, Barbie is not really an Oscar movie? Like, it's got a bunch of nominations, but like, we're not going to start giving it major awards. And it was never in contention for those major awards.
Well, then why did it get nominated for 8 Academy Awards?
When I say in contention, there's in contention like you're actually nominated, and then there's in contention like you actually have a chance to win. Barbie has zero chance to win. Best Picture.
As you say that, I go right back to one of our earliest episodes of FYC of the season, right after we had all seen Barbie, or you guys had seen Oppenheimer. I saw Oppenheimer late in the game, but we had seen Barbie. And one of the things that I had said was, of all the categories, I don't think it should or will get in for screenplay. I think that's one of the weaker elements. And, I still kind of feel the same way about that. I like Barbie a lot. I have my criticisms of it.
I do too, but I think here's the thing. Okay, how do I say this in a way that I can really make sure I get my point across? I agree with what you said, Jeff. I think Downey is sensational in Oppenheimer, but I feel like Gosling was fantastic in Barbie, and his supporting performance was stronger in Barbie than Downey's supporting performance was in Oppenheimer. And I'm not saying anything to take away from Downey's performance in Oppenheimer. It's just, you're comparing two different films and two different supporting performances. And I think one had a bigger impact on one film than the other did in the other. Anyway, moving on then to an actor who, even though by this point you expect him to give a great performance, this was really, really great. And that is Robert De Niro. Watching Killers of the Flower Moon, I was like, wow, he has been like even more than The Irishman. I would say I think his strongest performance since his Oscar nominated role in that was Silver Linings Playbook. Perri, why is he winning the Oscar?
This game, man. It's hard. He's winning it because Killers of the Flower Moon is very good. Truthfully, I do think this is one of his best performances in recent years. I thought he did an exceptional job of exuding that kind of like fake warmth that would make me believe why people trusted him. And I love the subtleties in his performance as that shifts to eliciting fear in others, and also how it shifts even further to show what a monster he is. I think that particular character was in very good hands, and Robert De Niro made the most out of that acting opportunity. So he could get rewarded just because he's really good in the movie.
Really great. And the last time he won an Oscar was for 1980's Raging Bull for Best Actor. So, all right, Jeff, why is De Niro? It's great to see De Niro back in form, but that's what it is, and it doesn't go further than that.
Yeah, I just don't I don't see it on the screen compared to Downey Jr. or Gosling. I mean, he was good in that, and it was the best that he's been in years, but it's not like this was like a top drawer De Niro performance. Like, we just have higher expectations of this guy, many of whom, many people believe he's the greatest actor of all time. And I may be among them, but yeah, just not. I just didn't love Killers enough to be all gung ho about this one.
I actually thought that De Niro's performance in Killers was stronger than Leonardo DiCaprio's.
Oh yeah.
So there's that. All right, Jeff. Mark Ruffalo. Why is Mark Ruffalo winning the Oscar for supporting actor for Poor Things?
He's not. Yeah. What do you want me to say here? I think a lot of people were even surprised that he got nominated over Willem Dafoe for this movie. Yeah. I think this is, if you're a fan of Poor Things, yeah, you can be a fan of everything around her, but really you love that movie because of Emma Stone's performance as Bella Baxter.
That's true.
I don't see the other performances as good as, Ruffalo's is good movie. And he does play a bit of a different character, but I don't see it, anywhere in the ballpark of like Oscar winning worthy.
All right. Well, I think Perri, Jeff just said what I was going to ask you. So add to that.
He's not winning. He's not winning. I'm so happy he got nominated. One of the things that I keep thinking about is during my interview with him and Willem Dafoe, I forget what my question was at the time, but he had mentioned that like it was a role that felt wrong for him just because it's so outside of what people generally think he will do in a movie, and that created a little apprehension. And I'm so glad that he swung big and did something out of the box this industry puts him in, and glad that he was rewarded for it because he's quite exceptional in that role, and I think deserves even more opportunities to swing big like that.
Wait, so you interviewed Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe for Poor Things. So you didn't ask the question, Perri?
Oh no, what's the question?
The question that a true FYCer would ask Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe, who would win in a fight, the Hulk or the Green Goblin? Come on!
No, I can't. It's not. Those questions are not in my wheelhouse.
I mean, Perri, that's an FYC question. I'm just joking. It's not. So, Perri, if you notice, when I started this whole thing with Best Supporting Actor, back and forth where I kind of flip-flop between you and Jeff, like, oh, why is this person winning? Why is losing? Why is this person winning? Why is this losing? So I strategically did it this way so I could come back to you to ask you, why is Sterling K. Brown winning the Academy Award for Supporting Actor for American Fiction?
Damn, I want to make a good argument for this so badly. I'll make this argument by contradicting something I said earlier. I think if anyone emerges to the top of the likely not winner pile, it's going to be him, because people love him. He's super kind, funny, talented, and I mean, really, why I think he should win rather than will win is because I think it's just the perfect example of someone taking a great role on the page, making it purely their own, and like breathing more life into the character than I ever would have expected had I read the script first. And I just think his energy in that movie is kind of infectious, and it's one of the biggest takeaways from an exceptional film.
I thought, Sterling K. Brown, if I can use the word, and I say this, it's saying a lot when I say that he's a revelation in American Fiction. I just thought he was so great, and I was so happy that he was nominated for it. But Jeff, if he's not winning, why is he not winning?
I mean, he's not winning because he's up against Barbenheimer and much larger forces. But for my money, this is the best performance in the category.
Oh,
I thought he was exceptional. I mean, I think that we've seen this kind of character before, but never quite like this. I think that American Fiction explores a world in which like there's just bullshit all around us, and his character kind of cuts through it all. At least, the version of the character that we get to see where he's finally living his best life openly and everything like that. He made me laugh. He made me cry. Sterling K. Brown fucking dominated this movie.
Absolutely. So there you go. There you have our supporting actress and supporting actor categories. Perri, shall we cut to the super chats?
We'll cut to the super chats, as I do one of the most unprofessional things I've ever done on FYC, and check in for my flight tomorrow so that I get a good seat.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Super chats.
First
one up.
First
of course,
one up.
It's
David.
Hey, David LeMan. Dominic says I got overlooked, but so glad BAFTA nominated him in supporting actor. And the clip they used was the scene where he talks about his dad. As someone whose mom struggled with mental health, that scene really broke me.
I'm with you, David. As I was watching American Fiction when this movie premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, I was able to relate to Dominic Sess's character, whereas maybe if I'd seen the film only 2 months before, I would not have. So I completely feel for you, brother, and agree. That scene did break me. Absolutely.
Next up is Mike Day. It's been decided a long time ago that Da'Vine Joy Randolph was winning Best Supporting Actress. But do you think Robert Downey Jr. is also a lock for Best Supporting Actor, or are you anticipating a swerve come March 10th?
I think he's a lock, and whether we want to believe again that this stuff plays into it or not, like this guy propped up like American movie going for a decade, basically. I feel like if we're going to give Tom Cruise credit for that last year, right, we have to give Downey a bit of credit for what he was really able to launch with Iron Man.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Iron Man is one of the best superhero movies ever made. It launched the MCU. It's now going into 16 years. It holds up perfectly. It's probably the MCU movie that I watch more than any other is the original Iron Man from 2018. I agree with that, Jeff. Perri, what's your take on our David LeMan, the man?
Well, here, I mean, this is a good transition. Our next super chat. David says the greatest thing Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer is that I didn't know the backstory of Louis Strauss going in, and felt like I still felt and I understood who he was through the intensity of his personality through the performance. That's like one of my favorite things in, I guess in particular, supporting performance. Not that lead performances can't have this, but traditionally supporting characters get less screen time than the lead character. And I love when actors in those roles can make more of what they have, where even if you don't have their history spelled out for you, you could still feel it informing their choices all the way through. So I love how this is explained here.
Yes, absolutely. All right, what else we got? David LeMan. Yeah, you're
Keep
dominating.
going with David. I think the supporting categories are pretty much locked, but it would be nice if Penelope Cruz won the SAG Award. She's the only one beside Da'Vine that hasn't won a SAG Award and gave one of her best performances in Ferrari.
David, the fact that Penelope Cruz got into the SAG Awards with a nomination here, that is her win in this case.
Right.
And actually, I do think that she's been better elsewhere. I think she's just, Volvera was a magnificent.
I thought she was really good in Ferrari. I really did. But yeah, I mean, she's not going to win.
I'm gonna second this this super chat. Love you guys. Jeff, obsessed with the overalls.
They look good, Jeff.
Big fan of the overalls as well.
My brother got them for me.
Jeff, you look like Stephen King in Creepshow.
Yikes. And now I see it. Now I fucking
wear the white shirt with the blue overall.
Glasses or something.
All right, next up. Mance wants chaos at the SAG. But it's a strong possibility that Barbie could win ensemble along with Gosling and Robbie winning. I hope it doesn't happen, but hey, it could.
See, now, EK, I feel like the Barbie win for ensemble would just like make good on everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see Gosling and Robbie winning in the individual acting categories, but like a Barbie ensemble win would be like what Barbie is all about. Okay. You know what I mean? Like when Margot Robbie was snubbed for actress and Greta Gerwig was snubbed for director, a lot of the backlash was, see, this is the whole point of the movie. So sort of the end of Barbie would you know, the what do you call sticking the landing would be if it actually did win Best Acting Ensemble at the SAG Awards. I mean, I know I'm probably, you know, going way off, and you know, I'm just trying to like, you know, create some conversation here. But
and maybe that's what SAG is going to try to do, right? Create some conversation, and so that the headlines that emerge after SAG are the race is on. We've got a race here.
Yeah, exactly.
People love a race.
Now are all 119,000 voting members of SAG thinking that way?
No, that's part of the problem. That's why it's never going to happen.
All right. Well, that's right, Perri. You're right. All right, moving on.
All right. I'm going to sit in the emergency exit row. I get a little more leg room, right? That's a good choice. I'm going to take it. I'm going to lock it in.
Only if you're willing to step up and do your duty, Perri.
I can. You know how many hours I've spent on planes? I know those pamphlets quite well at this point. You could trust me.
Because there are people who they take the leg room, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing shit.
Right. I wouldn't dare take the extra leg room unless I'm responsible for the duties that seat comes with.
Okay, Mike K.
Are you looking down at Mike K's super chat?
Mance, are you willing to make a bet? Because I think Oppenheimer will win Best Outstanding Cast in a Motion Picture.
Mike K, are you saying you want to bet movie Mance? Or are you telling me that I should bet Perri and Jeff? Because either way, I'm not betting because I'm not that confident. I'm just saying it is a possibility. That's all. I'm saying there could be an upset. I am not putting my foot down saying this is definitely happening. Mike K, I like where your head's at. The bet's coming. The bet will come. We have to have a big FYC bet before the Oscars. It'll happen, but I'm not doing it on SAG.
I'll figure out a bet hopefully after SAG.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Oh, here's a good question. I hope to see you guys at South by Southwest for bragging rights. Is anybody who's going?
I'm going.
I assume the two of you. I'm not going. I've never been.
You've never been to South by?
No, it has not been a priority.
Well, Lauren, when you see us, make sure you say hello. Make sure you say, wait, don't say hello. Come up to me or Perri and say, FY, see you later.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
That's the code. That's the man's Trek handshake or whatever.
That's like the secret code. I love it.
I can't do it.
I always do not that we should waste time doing this. What, like, isn't there like the wrong way where like you know, the finger, like
you end up, Perry's about to throw some gang signs here.
Like, I can't do it either. I don't know why I'm trying.
LLP? All right. It's okay. It's okay.
Or man, it's like when people like keep, like you have to keep the thumb in or out or something. Out.
Now wait, Mance, were you able to do that naturally as a kid, or did you practice as a kid, like with rubber bands and shit?
Like, no practice at all. Came right to me.
Just fucking natural and Trekkie.
Natural born second. That's right.
All right. DaveNet World says SAG Ensemble won't make a difference at the Oscars, but I do think American Fiction can take SAG Ensemble. It seems to be surging as of late.
Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. You're absolutely right, Dave. I mean, it's worthy to win. It deserves to win. It's a wonderful film. Honestly, I think American Fiction is a perfect movie. There's nothing wrong with it. It is a perfect film, and it is a film that people are going to watch for years and years and years because it's just so smart, and it's going to be one of those movies that people like watch 20 years down the line and say, man, this movie is still really relevant.
It is my personal favorite, I think, of the Best Picture nominees, but it is not a perfect movie.
I think
if it wins the SAG Ensemble Award, will that change any of your predictions?
For the Oscars?
Yeah.
I have to get that.
Screenplay. Maybe screenplay.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
There he was baiting me.
Right.
Never know. Who isn't nominated in supporting actor or actress that you wish was?
Supporting actor, supporting. Oh, shoot. Good question. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I mean, Sessa, obviously, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Supporting actress. That was a tough category to fill out, if I recall.
I'll tell you, Lauren, I got it.
I got it too.
Davis,
yeah,
Viola Davis for Air. She should have been nominated.
Yes.
She was good.
Yep. I think we can all get behind that one. Da'Vine was outstanding in The Holdovers. The party scene when she talks about grief is my favorite part of the movie. Very well deserved. Totally agree with that.
Carol, completely agree with you. And I related to that moment where she's talking about grief, for sure.
All right. Robert Downey Jr. is so fun to watch on the red carpet and at the awards. He's quite enjoyable.
He is. Wouldn't it be great if Robert Downey Jr. announced that he was coming back to play Tony Stark again? It's not going to.
No, I don't think it would be great. I thought that ending was so incredibly well earned, and as much as like it's hard to say no to him in that role again, I would never want to take away from how epic that moment is. David says, "Happy birthday to Emily Blunt today. She turns 41." You're right, Perri. Emily's performance is very subtle, but in the interrogation scene and where she urges him to stand up for himself is one of her best.
Agreed. Oh, wait a minute. Absolutely. Rosamund Pike should have been nominated for Saltburn. Yes, absolutely. Sorry. I just saw Mark Strickland write that in the comments section. Mark, you're right. Big Rosamund Pike fan. Back to you, David. Agree with you. You're awesome.
I'll plus one that just to piss Jeff off. DaveNet World says, think of the optics if Ryan Gosling won an Oscar when Gerwig and Robbie weren't nominated at all. Doesn't quite fit with the narrative of the movie.
Dave, all I can say to that is it's not going to happen, so it's a non-issue.
Move right on.
But like that is kind of like like, oh, we can't give Ryan Gosling an Oscar because this is a movie about women. Men can't stand out in a movie about women or be rewarded for what they bring to a movie. And it's like so silly.
So silly.
He's a silly guy.
All right.
Matt says, my number 2 is Sterling K. Brown. Like Robert Downey Jr., he really feels like a full-form character, and the other 3 feel like stand-ins for the themes of their movies.
Interesting perspective there, Matt. Not sure I agree with it, but okay.
I won't agree with that either, except for the fact that Sterling K. Brown, I actually won't even agree with number 2. I think Sterling K. Brown would be my number 1 if I made a list. Personal list, not prediction list.
Right.
All right, next up, Barbie won't win Best Picture. Not because of the movie that it is. It's because of Oppenheimer. After Everything Everywhere All at Once and Parasite, etc., an Oscar movie can be anything.
Well, that's for sure. That is absolutely true.
I'm gonna disagree and say those are very different things than a movie based on a Mattel doll.
Because I'll tell you what, morons mince movies. Or I'm going to change that today to morons manse movies. There you go. What I will say about that comment is this: after Everything Everywhere All at Once and Parasite winning Best Picture, an Oscar movie can be anything. That's absolutely true, because those 2 films proved that the old argument about the Academy being a bunch of old people and they're too stuffy and like a movie might be too weird for them. I don't think that argument flies anymore, and that's why a movie like Poor Things actually could win Best Picture, because it's really far out and out there, like Everything Everywhere and Parasite. But I do agree with the comment that an Oscar movie can be anything. Morons.
Well, seems like it can be anything but a horror movie. Let's be real about it. That's the next thing we should try to change.
Well, true, but it has been now 33 years since Silence of the Lambs. So
that's a long time. we need to fix that. Carol says, "Thank you all so much. I love listening to all your opinions and the respect you have for each other. It's so fun to watch." We do have a lot of respect for each other.
Carol,
that's a really nice comment. Ooh, I want to take this one first, Mance. Is that okay?
Sure.
If you remove Greta's name from Barbie, no chance it gets 8 nominations. It is a great film, but there's a ton of great blockbusters that at absolute most would get half that. She just has the Oscar cachet. I'll agree with you. If you remove Greta Gerwig's name from Barbie, there's no chance it gets 8 nominations, because she is a singular and exceptional director who had the ability to bring to screen a seemingly impossible IP to adapt into a feature film in a way that had any depth whatsoever. So I feel like that's part of the reason why I would agree. If Greta Gerwig was not associated with Barbie, it's highly unlikely a Barbie movie would get 8 nominations. She is a phenomenal director. And even though I don't love it, like a lot of folks out there, I do very much recognize that she worked movie magic with that property to make something special.
I second that and have nothing more to add, because Perri said it so well.
I think that's one of the toughest questions we've been asked in the history of this show, honestly, because I'm looking at it from like a development standpoint, and like, if you're telling me that, forget what Greta brings to the movie, if the movie is the exact same movie, right, and at the very end of Barbie it says directed by S.J. Clarkson, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say that the movie wouldn't get the same nominations that it did, because it's the same movie. But I also understand what this reader is saying, that Greta brings an Oscar prestige, a sheen to it through which you're looking at Barbie.
But even if you were a studio exec involved in the beginnings of the film, I still don't think, even though Greta Gerwig was a past nominee, that anyone anticipated a Greta Gerwig Barbie movie to go on to be one of the biggest contenders during an Oscar season.
No, of course not. I think this totally caught everybody off guard. Let me ask you this then. Let me try to put it a different way.
Okay.
Let's flip it and reverse it. She's working on a Narnia movie now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
When that Narnia, which I don't think that when the Narnia movies came out, any of us thought of them as Oscar movies. Will her Narnia movie be considered an Oscar bait movie?
Personally, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen until either the movie first gets reviewed, or something in the promotional campaign signals like this could be like a high quality adaptation. Yeah.
So it's not just that because it's Greta Gerwig's name on it, it's an automatic Oscar contender.
But I think that's only the case because it's Greta Gerwig paired with Narnia, and the other Narnia films kind of like fizzled out. I feel like if you paired Greta Gerwig's name with something that was a little more Oscar-y, so to speak, then it immediately would be an Oscar package. I mean, like topic wise. There you go.
All right.
Good food for thought. Scott's ready to move on. Scott's like, I got to get back to supporting.
I have Mary Hour right now. Supporting categories are locks. The game resides in the lead acting categories. Gladstone / Giamatti need the SAGs or they're done.
And I say that SAG will have no bearing. It's not like like they split. They split all the time, SAG and the Oscars.
I say that if Lily Gladstone loses the SAG, I think that race is over. But whether Giamatti wins or loses, I think there's still a race between him and Cillian.
I agree with you. Yep, I agree with that.
Do you think The Boy and the Heron can upset at the Oscars?
I don't think it would be an upset. I think The Boy and the Heron has a very strong chance to win animated feature, and because a Spider-Man movie already won animated feature.
I think it could. Yeah, I think it could upset.
He is a legend, so that's a great question.
Agreed. Murphy Giamatti seems a much tighter race as the weeks pass. How critical is a SAG win for both of them for winning the Oscar?
just address that kind of, right, Perri? But but I agree that no matter who wins here, I'm with you, Perri. Even if Cillian Murphy wins here at the SAGs, I still think Paul Giamatti has a chance at the Oscars.
All right, Jodie Foster, surprise at SAG or Oscars, yay or nay? She's earned a lot of love for True Detective of late. It's a long shot, but you never know.
Nay.
Sometimes you know.
Nay. Yeah, I'm going nay too, as much as I want to say yay. Jeff in overalls looks kind of like Jim Varney's character in Ernest Goes to Camp. Are you guys gonna have time to watch the SAG Awards tomorrow? I don't have Netflix, so I'll watch it at my friend's house. I'm gonna try, but I'll be traveling.
I'll probably watch it.
I'm actually one of the presenters.
Yes.
I wish I could believe that. Happy birthday to Scream Queen, Smar Weaving. Happy birthday. Yeah,
Happy birthday.
I like that. And here's a biggie from David. So glad Da'Vine is getting an Oscar for a subtle performance. The Oscars have been giving awards for showy performances for years. It's nice to see that get recognized. Also, she's been so funny and moving in her speeches. Did you see her BAFTA speech? Her BAFTA speech was very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, David. Absolutely. Thank you for super chats.
Briefly, when I was watching the BAFTAs, I leaned over to the person that I was watching it with, and I said, I'm like, like you would think that after so many wins, it's hard to like exude that same amount of heart and emotion and like keep the bar as high in terms of like the moving quality of your speech. And then all of a sudden she gave a speech. I'm like, oh, yeah, she got no problem doing that again.
You know what? She's so like Brendan Fraser was always able to muster up emotion for each award that he got.
Yeah, so, and it's also genuine and from the heart. I feel like you could tell and feel that. Mance for President 2025.
Not an election year, but I'll take it.
I don't know. Some other country, though, should elect you as president in 2025.
I'll vote for you, Mance. Final question, and then we will close this out. How much do you guys think Dune 2 would have impacted this Oscar season had it come out sooner? Any chance Villeneuve would crash the director race?
I want to take this one.
Wow.
Well, because, Matt, as soon as I saw Dune 2, that was the first thing I thought of. Was if Dune 2 would have come out in November of 23 instead of March of 24, I think a lot of categories will look very, very differently. And you would have, especially in the crafts, visual effects, sound, all that stuff, because that and director and even best picture. And it would, you'd have Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan, going up against each other. And I think they're two of the very greatest filmmakers like ever. Because
exactly, dude, this is what an episode of FYC. This is a fascinating question. Okay. What is Christopher Nolan about to do this weekend? Re-release Tenet, right?
Well, I thought he already did that.
Is that not this weekend? I don't know what day it is. I think it's this weekend.
I wasn't paying attention.
Chris Nolan is re-releasing Tenet this weekend in anticipation of Dune 2, in support of Denis, right? So it's like, did Warner Brothers, in an attempt to court Christopher Nolan back, right? They could have said last fall, listen, Chris Nolan, you think you've got this Oscar all wrapped up. We've got this little movie, Dune 2, that could really hurt Oppenheimer because it's another huge movie, right? You could see them competing in a lot of categories together. So they're like, what if we delay it until the spring? Let you run unencumbered, and then we'll put, we'll re-release Tenet and have, because we're delaying your movie, we'll have Nolan stump for it in the spring. Dude, conspiracy theory Jeff is working here.
I'll just say I want Greg Fraser to get another nomination, please, because his visuals are just exceptional in Dune 2. Okay, we're done.
Okay, we're done.
Merry hour time.
Don't believe the lies.
What a fun episode of FYC. Thank you, everyone, for watching live. Thank you for everyone watching late to the party. Big thanks to Perri Nemiroff for hosting FYC on her YouTube channel. Make sure you scroll down a little bit and subscribe to Perri's channel. Make sure you check out Jeff Snyder's newsletter, theinsnyder.com. And if you subscribe, he will send you a free pair of overalls. Or you can catch Jeff with my great friend Johnny Roca on the hot mic, breaking news left and right. Make sure you share FYC on your social media platforms so it can go viral and more people can discover the greatness of Perri Nemiroff, Jeff Snyder, and Scott Mance on FYC. We're getting close to the moment of truth, the Academy Awards, March 10th. Make sure you join us next week on FYC. And I think the week after that, we're doing our final predictions, because the week after that, it's the Oscars. And then we are going to do our post-mortem of the Oscars. So we have like 3 episodes left of FYC for this Oscar season. Unbelievable, head blown.
Then it's almost Emmy season again.
Oh, here we go. Emmy season, FYC all year long. Thanks everyone for watching. And as always, FY. See you later.